to me directly saying, what's changed? Because they're noticing so much improvement. Now, is there more work for us to do? 100%. And that's what we intend to do. But I just wanted to start off by saying, well done. We're going to get there. And so, thank you very much on behalf of the residents who've been sending that feedback to us. Thank you. I have a number of questions, but Councilor Vicente, did you have one?
Please, go first.
Okay. I don't know where to begin. First and foremost, we're just coming off of some very deep conversations about international students and human trafficking. Quick question on that. Are our staff trained in identifying signs of human trafficking? And what happens when those signs appear?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I can advise that staff are trained in regards to things to look for that may indicate human trafficking. To put that into context, it's the same training that staff at airports would receive, at transit hubs. It would fall into things that every good citizen should know. With that being said, we have the opportunity to see more than most citizens, so the training, while it's the same, can be more effective. Anytime there are issues or concerns, those are immediately turned over to Peel Regional Police, who are very active on that file, and they take it from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rob. A few other questions, and that has to deal with setting occupancy limits. That was one of the things that we discussed in the motion. And on the slide number 19, where it talks about issuing the occupancy permit upon giving the ARU registration, they submit drawings. So in some of our conversations in the past where I've compared it to hotel occupancy limits, is it possible for us to start integrating the same thing, saying that you can safely in this room or this ARU that's registered occupy X number of people?
When it comes to residential units and houses, unfortunately there's no such a clear guideline in the code. As a rule of thumb, we consider 2 people per sleeping bedroom. But then again, this could be easily challenged by showing that there is enough capacity in terms of ventilation, washrooms and other means that the house requires to accommodate more people. So the building code allows either by some sort of a proof that they show that this house is capable of taking more than, let's say, 8 people, whereas there's only 3 bedrooms. So it's either or. Unfortunately, so there's really no clear way I can think of that we can limit occupancy in a house, right? Mm-hmm. So if someone wants to bring their relatives or someone to be with them for a temporary time or an extended time, it's difficult from building perspective to tackle that.
Is there a way for us to kind of, like if the code is not clear, either one way or the other, is there a way to possibly look into how we could achieve or signal what those occupancy limits might be, simply because we've got a lot of overcrowding situations in Brampton. We're looking for those solutions on how to deal with that. Is there a way for us, if it's unclear in the code, versus saying we can't, right. Is there a way for us?
I just want to understand exactly the question. Are we intending businesses to post an occupancy card on residential units saying the maximum occupancy load is this and that? Is that what the intention is? Is that the route?
I think it's kind of in relation to the RRL. So you have the ARU registration process. They submit drawings. Ideally, I'll give you an example of what I mean. So you said that there's a maximum of 2 people per bedroom. Let's say an ARU unit has 2 bedrooms. So let's say that ideally it's a maximum of 4 people within that additional residential unit. We then know that they're renting it out and get their license. And ideally, if the registration for that unit says an occupancy of 4 people and the license says, with the drawings, therefore you could only rent out to 4 people, and then there's a complaint in the neighborhood that they see 5 or 6 cars parked in the driveway, and upon RL inspection, notice that there's 15 people living in there. Then we can revoke the license because there's an occupancy limit. But that would be ideally how it would potentially look like. However, if there are provincial legislation in the way, then perhaps we can't achieve that.
So under fire code, so building code is pre-occupancy. Once they become occupied, fire code takes over. If we go into a situation like that, which we have, we can implement, or we can issue a fire marshal's order. We can issue an order based that how they are living is not to the original design. So
Okay.
we will, depending on this exact situation on which part of the code that it applies to,
Yes.
we will issue a removal order. So remove the persons to become compliance on how the original design of the house was done. And we've had success with that, where they've removed down to 4 people or down to however the original design was set out to.
That's great, Chantel. And this is why the coordination amongst the departments on this is so important. So even if there's provincial legislation in the way that prevents us from setting occupancy limits officially, we still have a sense what maybe the total number should be. And then if it is suspected to be beyond that, then fire could come in and deal with it.
Right.
Is that
Right.
Is that right? That's the process we have right now. It's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than actually saying, no, you could only have 5 people here as per what you submitted as drawings.